If you're a church and you're thinking of upgrading to an LED wall at your church, well, there's a lot to think about before actually having that wall in your church. We're here at Gateway Church in Dallas-Fort Worth area with Will Martin. Will, what's your title here?
I am the AVL Systems Director.
As we can see behind us, you guys have LED walls. Do you know how many tiles, roughly, if you had to estimate?
For our scenic wall, roughly, if you consider just by meter, we're close to 425 panels that are all half meter based.
We're thinking of a church of, let's just say, 200 people. You know, how many panels are you going to have to think about where it's actually an LED wall and not just the size of a television?
Depending on the size of your stage and infrastructure, you always have to consider foundation on the floor, ground stacked, or rigging and motors.
And how many tiles are we talking about minimum?
For a small wall, small room, probably 60.
It's going to be a financial investment regardless. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. LED walls are not cheap. If you can get away with a couple TVs, that's going to be, I don't know, 5% the cost, maybe less.
Yeah.
Before you even get the LED wall, you mentioned ground stacking versus hanging. What are some things you have to consider there?
Is your stage stick built, as in constructed out of wood or metal studs, and the foundation of the support of that? We have stages that won't support it. You even have the weight capacity for a lift to get up to the ceiling to hang it, or you hang it off of ladders or scaff. Then from there, if you can't and you have to hang, you have to have motors, or do you dead hang? There's a lot of things to consider in that, and structural engineering.
Think about it. If you're going to put it on the ground, can your ground support it, which is your stage typically? And then if you're going to hang it from your roof, can your roof support it? Yeah, your answer might be no to both those things.
Yeah.
So you've got to even understand, can you even put it in your church before you even think about buying it? I've got a projector and a screen. I want to replace that with an LED wall because it looks really cool. Do I just throw then up the thing that I had on the projector then now on the LED screen? Or do I have to think about content differently?
I think it depends on if you're replacing projectors on the sides. Yeah, sure. IMAG to lyrics to content can be the same and it doesn't change. But if you're going to do it for a scenic, then you have to consider content creation, how you're doing that, be intentional. That's the issue too many people forget, is they're not intentional with it. So it's a waste of investment.
When, pastors or worship leaders are going to these conferences at these big churches, and there might even be, production companies that are coming in with equipment, and they're seeing these screens, they're seeing specialized content created on these screens. Does it take specialized creatives to create that content, or can you just download content and throw it on an LED screen? Does it work the same way?
It can on the pre-purchase stuff. We actually utilize a few subscriptions for that for worship content. We customize that layout to fit our design. For sermon deliverables, we have a team that actually creates and develops those.
Yeah.
And so we have to give them like a pixel map to be true pixel to pixel, and they will design and create content for that for a series. For the 99% churches, there are a lot of avenues that we can actually, you don't have to have staff to create. There's church media squad, there's Sunday screens, shout out to Ezra and them. We use them a lot for our worship.
Yeah.
And we love it. It's creative. We're not having to pay the salary or keep staff and challenge them to be creative when there's companies out there that are highly creative and always try to push forward.
We figured out whether we can even have an LED wall, whether we have the support for it, and I'm talking physical support. We've thought about, okay, we know where to get the content. We understand what's going to go on the LED screen. Now let's talk about the actual LED purchase. I've been told that, you want to choose a reputable company. You don't want to just buy cheap LED. What's the real pros and cons there if I buy something cheap that's just shipped in versus I buy it from a company that people recommend?
I would say support. When you have modules die, because it's not if, it's when, you will always have modules die. You'll have power supplies die, receiving cards. Those things actually will benefit you or not. Of like, okay, well, I have extra. Yes, but the extra will run out. Like, do you actually have a company that you can call and actually talk to you or respond to emails that will actually repair. And so there are companies that are, none of them are truly US based, but the US based that will actually support you. And you don't have to be the top line to get that support. Yes, I think there are some pros of, hey, we matched our budget, but it's going to cause you a lot of headache.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference in matching your budget up front and matching your budget in the long run.
In the long run.
Those are two different conversations.
Exactly.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that actually all the LED is basically made in about 3 factories in China.
Pretty much.
That regardless whether you're going to the US company or a Chinese-based one or anywhere else, they're all made the same place. So you're saying that support is the issue that we're talking about on the longevity of your system and how much you're going to enjoy it and how long it's going to last.
Yeah, and I think also some of your smaller companies that are direct ship will always claim, we're made in the same factory. They're not, or they're not made to the right QC. And so their company's not QCing them and verifying. We have different manufacturers here, and one that we despise because of the shaders, the view angles. They might be a better pixel size that might be better at the long run, but it's not.
If I've got an LED wall and it's running fine, and then all of a sudden I notice there are some wonky things happening, they say, oh, you got to replace some tiles. Okay, I can't just order tile replacements. Is there a matching issue?
Yes, there's a matching issue because of your LED batches, burn-in times, calibration. Most of the time, a solid company that has great support will have some in that batch to repair, or as you purchase, you ask for additional LEDs within that batch and you send it to them. Or for our sake, we actually know how to solder and fix our own LEDs on our walls.
If we're thinking of, what else are we missing? We could do projection, we could do televisions, we could do LED. Is there anything else, or is that kind of the 3 generic options?
Yeah, I would say those are the 3, and we actually utilize all 3 throughout our campuses, our rooms, TVs in a lot of our classrooms, TVs for stage displays, and then in most of our campuses, we're actually projector-based, laser projectors, because bang for buck. Also, you have to consider infrastructure, weight, like we talked about. We also forgot about power consumption, and that's a huge cost. Like a lot of people forget, and managing that. If you can't do that, there are other aspects that would actually fit things really well and easy to maintain, and you're not having to worry about, oh, well, module went out. Can I fix it on a Sunday morning? No, because you don't have a lift. You can't get to it, or in the middle of service, because we've had where half of a wall went out.
And another thing we notice is that churches like you often redesign your LED walls.
Yeah.
What's involved in that? Is that a simple weekend project, or is there a little more to that?
Yeah, so for us on a normal, what that would look like is strike on a Sunday after service, and then motor point change, because we have to have motors for a lot of it because it's all flown, then redesign. So that will take us probably 4 to 5 days of multiple hands. That's striking it, cable cleanup, and then rig points, setting motors, setting truss, setting level headers, and then verifying your seams and actually building that. And so it also takes a lot of prep beforehand to draw it and consider what does our design look like. Leadership actually will verify and speak and sign off on those designs. And then also it supports your creative team in creating content. If you're doing the day of, right, and say, hey, this is what our design looks like, I don't think you're setting up your team for success. And so it takes us a lot of time to build them and also verify that it's done right. At the end of the day, if it's not safe for your band, it's not safe for your worship team, your speaker, even your crew.
And is it good for your LED wall to be changed and moved on a regular basis, or are there even different kinds of LED wall that maybe does that better than others?
Yeah, there's definitely different types, some that are really fixed install styles. We even have our IMAG walls are 1.9 mil, and they're very fragile because of the manufacturer, but also 1.9. And so they're really small, not really great for up downs and rebuilds. We're actually running Row graphite, and those actually are light based. They're easy, up downs 2.6, and they're really kind of rock solid. I would say if you're looking for one that's a fixed install, they're cheaper, and they're great. They can do what you need, but they're not really meant to be up, down, and redesigned multiple times a year. These are. Consider what you want to do. If you're like, hey, I don't know, there's a possibility, look at a tour-based that's meant to rebuild and take down and redesign.
Yeah. So we talked about so many things you got to think of before you get an actual LED wall in your church. If you're going and you're seeing these at conferences, you're seeing these at other churches, and you're thinking, I would love to have that in my church. Well, there's a lot of considerations between, whether your physical church building can support it, whether you have the power for it, whether you have content for it, what happens when pixels die, and what happens when you end up with a patchwork quilt of an LED wall eventually. Consider that there are amazing churches that you're seeing online doing amazing things with laser projectors. There are tons of smaller churches getting great results with TVs in their space. Don't just assume that an LED wall is the answer, but answer those questions before you go down that road. Hey, thanks so much for watching that video. We know how difficult it is to keep Sundays running at your church, and we know a lot of it is about the gear. So we want to give you an exclusive 5% additional off anything, even if we're running a sale. Even if we're running a sale, additional 5% off, grab the code in the video description below.